many of my couples who are dating for over 2 months, they'll ask me, they'll either send me an email or they'll ask for a session, and they'll come in and they'll say, we really like each other and we're ready to commit to each other. But are there stabilizer behaviors that we know for sure when we see them, that the relationship is going to make it, like is a responsible, good relationship? Well, yes, there are. There are things that therapists can quite clearly define and say, okay, these things would lead me to take the risk on committing to someone. I have 6 of them. However, this is not the whole list. I'm sure there are more things you should look at, more things you might want to consider, like your gut feel. But overall, I have to say these things stand pretty steady. And these things, although your partner will change, usually these stabilizers do not. Like, no matter what stage of your love you're going through or what stage of growth, whether you're adding on to the family or you lost a family member, these things usually stay pretty steadfast, and they will follow when the two of you are creating in this limelight. The great thing about these stabilizers is that you can see them in your partner, and your partner usually can see them in you. So when you notice these, they're not usually things one person is doing and the other is not. Usually means you're co-creating something really great. Okay, the first of these, how they react under pressure. When they're stressed, I go back to how they were raised here, because when people are stressed or they're under pressure, you can get a very clear idea of how they were raised, because people will regress with stress, and you can remember that. They will go back to what they used to do in their early childhood development, what they saw their parents do. So if your partner handles stress pretty well, they feel stress, they can feel under pressure, but they stay in control of their behavior, good for you. That's a very good stabilizer sign. Number 2, how they respond to your interests. Are they helpful and supportive, or do they kind of chide you like that's a dream in the sky? Whatever you reveal to them, the vulnerability, what you're hoping, what you dream in the future, if they are stabilizers, they should be supported. They should say, I could really see how that can work. And they may even be interested enough to say, do you want some help drawing up a plan, or should we stage it? Do you think this would happen maybe in a year? We could do plan 1, plan 2 at the second year. When your partner is invested like that, it's a really good stabilizer. That behavior is probably going to follow them. Number 3, how they care for others. Do they show up for others? If they have a best friend and a best friend had a bad illness or something's happened in their life, are they there? Are they a fair weather friend, or are they committed to other people? What about service people? How do they treat them? You can get a baseline of what somebody's really like, the essence of that person, by watching how they treat others, especially service people. So keep your eyes open, listen, and then if you see that this person is genuine, caring, concerned with their friends and other waiters and people who serve them, very good sign. That's a very stabilizing factor. Number 4, your sexual and emotional connection. If the two of you are connected sexually and you can talk and you can ask each other what you desire, what you want more of, what you want less of, what pleases you, when you can talk about sex, when it isn't your whole life together, but it is an integral part of your intimacy, and you're able to be emotional on that level and talk about it, and your emotional intimacy is in line with the sexual intimacy, that's another big stabilizer and a really good sign. How do they accept responsibility for their mistakes? Everybody fails. Nobody is perfect. Is this partner one who pushes things under the rug, or just kind of, well, I let it go, now I'm on to the next thing? Or do they acknowledge that was a mistake? Do they talk about what they learned? Are they angry? Do they blame somebody for their mistake? Or do they step up and say, well, I won't do that again. I think next time what I could do differently is this. If they're like that, they're also emotionally mature, and that will go the distance. People don't get unemotionally mature. They might not be emotionally mature when you start dating them, and they can grow toward that. But if they're already that way, you can rely on that. This is a self-disciplined, emotionally mature person. And lastly, how do they argue? Can you guys fight fair? When you fight, do you feel far away? Or does this person encourage you to negotiate? Negotiation and trust are two of the most important key factors in a relationship. Watch if they can negotiate. If it has to be their way, if their ego is so big that you have to manipulate to make it look like it was their idea, man, I would get out of that relationship. You don't need a part of that. But if they are able to negotiate with you, if they're able to fight to understand, not win, that's a stabilizer, and that's going to stay with you, and I say go for it.